Hey everybody, it is Zach here, and I hope that this live stream is full. I went on to my settings on the phone, and the setting where the Wi-Fi will connect automatically was turned on, and I've turned it off. So I know I get good cell phone reception, but my phone also gets kind of hot when I do these things. So I'm really hoping that this live stream won't just cut off like all the other ones, because it's truly annoying. And once that happens, it's like stuck in between Wi-Fi and everything like that. So yeah, going on. What's going on? Too Fast 65. Flip you guys around, and I'll show you what's going on. Oh, all right. You guys remember this four-wheeler? We had a talk about the four-wheeler and what was going on with it. Well, I thought I had fixed it. The issue that we had was it was overflowing in the carburetor and pouring out onto the floor. And I put this little dripper on there, which it didn't have before, but that was all part of the problem solving time, because I was trying to figure out where is this thing leaking from. So there's a little overflow tube in the carb. It sticks up like, this far, and as the carb fills up, it leaks out, obviously. So what was happening was there's this little thing called the needle. Let's see here if I can find it for you guys. Right there, that little piece is called the needle, and it goes into this round piece right here, and it seals. And what was happening was it wasn't sealing properly, and that seal is what makes the gas flow or not flow. And I tried to put a little O-ring at the base of this piece, as you can see, to push it out more and make more of a connection with the needle, but that didn't work. So we got the new parts in. This kit came with springs and all sorts of different. This adjusts like the idle and stuff. That wasn't the issue, and I didn't want to mess with those parts because then I have to retune it and it's a pain. So we replaced the parts, which were that needle and seat. There was a gasket in there. There's another O-ring in there, and a few other parts. Didn't mess with any of the things I didn't have to mess with because I don't want to ruin it. But right now, I'll show you. Since Tim's watching, this is Tim's my guy. So we got the fuel on. What's going on, Charlie? And just really gonna hammer on this thing, right? If you're like off-roading big time in it. And other than, there should be like one drop that'll come out of there from it overflowing. All that gas sloshing around in the carb going into that overflow tube. But see, I tried this before, and I brought it over there. He rode it around. It was working fine. And then, like, as soon as I got home, he sent me a video of it leaking again. So nothing's coming out of there now, which is good. And all I got to come out of there was just like a drop after really hammering on this thing. Obviously not driving it because I don't have anywhere to drive it, but doing my best to create a bumpy, what's going on, Mark? A bumpy atmosphere. So fingers crossed that this works. He also said today that when he would turn right, it kind of would make a clunk or a click type of noise. I looked under there, but the front end is tired. You can kind of see it's just a little bit used, and nothing's loose, like the rim isn't loose or nothing. And like side to side, there's really nothing. So I believe it's just that U-joint kind of getting, what's going on, Josh? Kind of getting worn out over time, but nothing seems to be super dangerous or nothing right now. So, like I said, the front end being worn out or tired, you know, it's not like it's ready to go, but you have to replace all those parts. And if you're gonna do one side, you might as well do both sides, and then got to get it all aligned again, and that's just a huge process and a lot of parts. And I don't really know what the plan is with this thing, but the plan was that just got to get it running. But I don't think that wheel's gonna fall off or anything like super dangerous. So that was what was going on with the four-wheeler. Yeah. What else is going on? So I put some stuff for sale. The welder here, my dad said he wanted to buy, so he's getting this. What's going on, Tommy? He's getting the welder and of course the airline and stuff like we had talked about. I got the jacket there. Probably gonna keep the gloves, but he can have the jacket because I got a spare one. And he can have this little face mask thing too. So he can use all that. I just found that I don't use that machine anymore, and it really does take up like 2 square feet of space, and that's a lot of space. So yeah, don't see the need for that, so I'm getting rid of that. This is my goose blind that I got 3 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago now. And I used it 3 times with my friend, and then last year his lady got into goose hunting, and then he wanted to go with her, which was totally cool. But he's kind of he like knows the people for the property and stuff, and yeah, so then he didn't hit me up for it, and so now I put it up in the rafters, and it's been up there. So I have that online for $200, but it's in like, other than like a couple little muddy footprints, like the waterproof membrane is really good, and it's one of these fancy ones that has this like the spring-loaded doors and the really nice padded, I guess you'd say, seat for you. So I put that up for sale. It's also a backpack, which I guess is kind of important too. But that's up for sale online. And then I did put my trailer up for sale, and I've gotten quite a few hits on the trailer. But no one's really came out to see it yet, and I'm really unsure if I'm ready to pull the trigger on that. I'm ready to pull the trigger on the truck. I'm going into the bank tomorrow to talk to them, because I did call them. And what's going on, Jerry? I talked to them. They're like, yeah, we can totally work this out. So I have to go in there and get rid of the truck. But the reason I have to go to the bank is because as far as like the Kelly Blue Book to what it's worth value, you know, to what I owe, I'm upside down by a few $1,000s. So with that being said though, I have the aftermarket coverages, which is like my drivetrain. I still got like 2 or 3 years on the drivetrain. The rust protection, which I have like 4 years on that, and I don't know if I'd get money back for the gap coverage. I'm not sure about that. But those other 2 I should get money back on. So that combined with the fact that I looked up on like Marketplace and Craigslist what these trucks are going for, and they seem to be going for more than what Kelly Blue Book or NADA, I guess you'd say, advertises it that they're worth. I see. What's going on, Brian? I'm doing good. How are you doing, man? I'm seeing these trucks go for anywhere from that 18 to 25 range, and similar miles, but the difference is they have the crew cab versus extended cab, but you know, they're all different, right? There's really loaded ones for 25. There's the work trucks for like 15. So I have to put it up and see what the market's response to it is. She's a pretty good looking truck, minus the rust bubble things on the other side, which we can take a gander. If you guys haven't seen that yet, I'll show you. So that's my biggest concern. Thanks for the support, Brian. I always like good supporters. So it's gonna be hard to see because it's dark, but you can get an idea. Maybe it's really hard to see, But the worst is this flake right here, and then it's just bubbled. But they make, obviously, those stupid black fender flares, or, gotcha, or they make color matched fender flare things that go over them too. I have no idea what the cost is for the colored match ones, but other than that, this truck runs great, drives great, drivetrain's good, has 114,000 miles on it, so the mileage is pretty good. And I put a new battery in it this last winter, spring maybe, and I've done oil changes every 3,000 miles. They suggest every 5,000, but I've done it 3,000 miles because I read online that these trucks are particular, so I wanted to make sure I got Wix filters and did the oil changes myself every 3,000 miles because I also read online that if you bring your vehicle to the same oil shop over and over and over again, some shops can be kind of crooked, and they won't change out your oil filter every change. They'll do it like every other oil change. So as soon as I read that, I immediately started doing all the service stuff to myself. Oh, and in the winter, I did plugs, wires, a new rear pinion seal. I did some tune-up stuff to it. So she's really ready to go. Gets like 18 miles per gallon on the highway, which is pretty good for a truck, a four-wheel drive truck. So I want to get rid of that, and then if I can break even on it, I'll immediately get something else, like a SUV is kind of what I'm hoping for. But if not, I'll have to drive Cherry. That's what Sam named that car. I'll have to drive Cherry for a little while until I get the negative equity paid off, because I don't want to have to be paying on more loans than I have to. But I'm really looking for an SUV or a four-door sedan car, but I'm looking for something cheaper, like 5 or 10 grand, and the price depends on the negative equity of this thing. So hopefully there's none, and then I can get a $10,000 car. So yeah, measure in grains. What's going on, man? Other than that, let's see, I'm chatting with you guys. We got a fire going over here. It's burning up the rest of my wood. So, yeah. But what I've found is, Sam and I, 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago, we bought that truck. And at the time, we were like, yeah, we want a camper. I had been, I went to the dealership 6 years ago and said, hey, I want to get an SUV. And I said, yo, you don't have any credit history, so how about we lease you a Ford Focus? You'll build credit, and then you can get whatever you want. And that was kind of like my only option at the time. So then I was like, okay, so I got that. That was great. But towards the last 2 years of it, I was like, this is a headache. Like, I hate this little car. I couldn't use it for anything. And we didn't have anything. We just had two cars. So there was no utilitarian vehicle around. And while I had the car, I had an F-150, and then I also got a Tahoe after that. So I guess I did have that, but I always felt like I had to substitute, right? I had to pay for two vehicles, and at the time, that just wasn't interesting to me. And that was, like I said, 4 or 5 years ago, so my insurance was like sky high to have two vehicles on there. Then I finally got rid of the car, and this was actually probably the cheapest truck on the lot. Because, it was a Ford dealership, and they wanted 30 grand for a Ford truck that had 160,000 miles on it. This thing here had 80-something thousand miles on it. Looked way sharp. When I test drove it, it had way more power than those gutless 5.4s. And I'm like, this was like 18 grand before all my packages. So I'm like, oh my God, yeah. Going with that. And at the time, I'm like, I want my payment to be below $400. So with all the aftermarket garbage that we've put on there, it ended up being $425, and I was like, that is perfect. $25 over. I'm not going to freak out. This is what I want. And then since then, we looked at campers and realized, wow, we could get a $30,000 camper, but we could stay in a $300 hotel room 100 times, which is like seems like way less of a headache than having to have a camper and insurance on a camper and to maintain a camper. So when we broke it down, it's like, yeah, maybe we just go tenting, and then if we want some luxury, get a hotel. And that's where we've been. So now fast forward 2 years, and it's like, well, with a baby coming on the way, I'm trying to crack down financially, and that truck, payment, insurance, and gas cost me $700 a month. That car's insurance is $20 a month, and gas is less than half of what that truck is, obviously, right? Because that car gets like 30 plus miles to the gallon, and this truck gets 15 if I'm not idling it all the time. So that's when I was like, well, dang, for $700 a month, I can rent as many U-Haul trucks as I might need. I can rent a U-Haul truck every weekend and still save all that money. And on top of it, I was breaking it down. 4 tires for the car is from $200 to $300, depending on what I want, right? But like $200 is four tires for that car. 1 tire for the truck is $200, and that's for a cheap tire. So breaking it down financially, the tune-up, all that tune-up junk I did was $500. All the tune-up stuff I've done to the car is less than $100. And the plan is, to answer your question, Josh, the plan is to get rid of the truck and then get the other vehicle, or there's some other ways we can go around it. But then if I'm going hunting up north, wherever, we'll have the SUV here. We're going to get a hitch for it so I can tow the utility trailer, which is why I don't want to get rid of the utility trailer. Because, like, if I shoot a deer hunting, you know how stinky it's going to be in that car? Driving home like 5 hours is ridiculous. So I do need the utility trailer, so I'm probably not going to sell that. But then we'll have the other vehicle that we can switch in and out of. We have 2 car seat bases, so it's going to be no big deal to grab one, grab the other. And this thing gets 30 miles to the gallon, so towing a trailer, that trailer in particular, which is pretty decent, it probably will get 25 to 28, maybe 28 if I'm really good to it. And then we'll have the car. So overall, what's going on, Trevor? Overall, payment, gas, tabs, all that junk will be cheaper. And having a baby and it being so close is really making me reevaluate my whole life, right? Plus the extended cab, you could fit a car seat in there, but we're not talking roomy at all. So, not saying that red car is any better at all, but what I'm saying is, but you guys get what I mean. So that's where we stand. And I'm really excited for a change. I like to get a new vehicle every so often, but the red car is really giving it to me. I love that little thing. It's been a fun car. You know, I'm not getting in trouble with it by any means, but it's giving me the, oh, this is fun. What's going on, Jerry? Earlier in the video, I went over this. This wheeler is not ours. This is a project I had for a friend of mine. It was leaking gas. So if you wanted to see that, I guess when we're over, just go to the very beginning of the video because I explained it then, and that'll answer your questions. Yeah, I did some organizing in the garage. I got all these tools here. Used to be on a 4-foot strip right there, and it was always kind of a hassle because we really walk on this side all the time, and you kind of bump in, focus. We kind of bump into all the stuff there in the corner. So I got these new ones for like $6 at Menards. All the stuff fits up here real nice, which is good. And then we're gonna get rid of the welder, obviously, and the hunting blind, and then the snowblower and lawnmower should be able to get stored against that wall. And then I'm gonna move the one rack here against the wall, and that'll help too. So Chris asked, are you gonna put stud tires on that red car? No, I think in Minnesota you can't have or you can't have studs on your tires. You can have winter tires, obviously, or studdable winter tires, but As far as actual putting studs in it, it's illegal. But my work with the last union negotiation, which was like a year and a half or 2 years ago, we got it put in place that if there's a winter storm, we can call into work and say, hey, I'm not coming in because of the storm, of the weather. And so far, I did it a few times last year, and it was pretty much no questions asked, no big deal. So, and a lot of people do it, and I would drive that thing through just about any amount of snow. I'm not worried about it. It's a front wheel drive, so you can get through pretty much anything. The hard part is like getting through the neighborhoods, but I live in town here, so for most of my commute, it'd be pretty good, except for I'm worried big time about other drivers, because where I live, there's a lot of stupid drivers. And yeah, like last year, I woke up early. I had to run to the hardware store. It was like a snowy day. Had the truck, rode right down that road. There's a hardware store ways down there. And I was going over the bridge, and I watched a school bus get pushed over by the wind against the curb in the middle of the bridge. And then I went to the hardware store, turned around, came back home. This was at like 9 or 10 in the morning. And then I had to leave for work at 3, so 6 hours later, and I called. I'm like, yeah, I'm not coming in. Like, I seen like a school bus of kids almost lose it, and there's no way I'm gonna try to make my way across town. Like, my life's not worth dying. So, Ease says, I live in Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Have you ever been there? Nope, have not. Haven't actually traveled all that much in the U.S. South Dakota, North Dakota, Las Vegas, Florida, and I think that might be it. Oh, like Iowa, and yeah, I don't know. I haven't been to that many crazy places, I guess. I'd love to do go around the Great Lakes, and I'd love to go to I've been to Chicago, so I've been to Illinois. I don't know. We've been to Tennessee. I guess I have been to a few states, but not as many as I'd like to be. What else is going on? A couple other things I want to get rid of. I got 2 camp stoves, so I'm getting rid of this fancy one up top because I always like using that bottom one because it's so much simpler. And I'm going to attempt to get rid of this bathroom here. One of those ones you put water in and it pumps. We got the luggable loo. That's good enough for us. That other one's so low to the ground, you try to use it, if you're a girl, you gotta fall onto it. And then as a guy, we can't aim to begin with, so you try stumbling around in the dark, finding this thing, and not peeing all over the floor. You're better than I am. I just ended up going outside. I'm like, I can't do this. Too fancy. And then you gotta sit there and pump the water and flush it. So, yeah. It's nice for the ladies. We got it when we had the camper and the little pop-up, and used it then, because then at nighttime you didn't have to walk all the way across the campground to the bathrooms. But Adam says, hey Zach, came back from cabin north of Hibbing this afternoon. It was gorgeous. I bet. Today we had amazing weather. It was like 70s all day. And then E says, are you going to be hunting with your dad this year? Too fancy. Oh, you know my nickname. So this year hunting, baby's due on the 24th of September, so I will not make it duck hunting. Whether that baby comes 3 weeks early or 2 weeks late, I will not be going duck hunting. What's going on, William? Deer hunting, still up in the air. It all depends on how comfortable I and Sam are, with just one parent there, right? Now, Sam's folks live within a half hour of us, so I think the plan would be that she would go and just stay with them for the weekend. That way she has help and people are there and she doesn't feel so nervous about it. Now, I think Sam's going to be a fantastic mother and there'll be no issues, but that's still up in the air too, because I will not put anything before my child or my wife. It's not how I am. So yeah, and That's hard to do if you've never missed. You know, if you've never missed a hunting thing, it's like a family tradition, right? So if you've never missed, it's like heart-wrenching. But then once you do it, you're like, yeah, okay, I'll miss that again, because sometimes you have to, you know? So I for sure won't be going duck hunting because I'm not going to feel comfortable leaving if we've already had the baby, or if Sam's like really, really due. No way. That's 4 hours away. If she calls me and says, yo, I'm going to the hospital, I'm having this baby, there's a very high chance I wouldn't be there for it, and there's a very high chance that she would never let me live that down. And I would never let myself live that down. So, yeah. And then deer hunting, like I said, it's in the air. I don't know if we'll feel comfortable or not or whatever. So, but I'm just taking it easy, right? Sometimes you got to be at home, and that's cool because like with duck hunting, there's always other weekends. So let's say the baby is born right on duck hunting opener, and we're gonna have our first birthday party. That's totally cool. I've missed duck hunting before, so I don't feel obligated. I can actually, you guys can look at me. Wow. Hi. I've missed it before, so it's not gonna like kill me if I miss it again. But then on top of that, there's 2 other weekends I can go duck hunting. So if forever she's born on opener, then fine, because I'll just go up second or third weekend, and maybe my family can make it up there, and maybe not. But I can still go duck hunting, and if they wanted it to be some big family thing, maybe they can decide to go. Maybe they can decide to go on those other weekends too. So, yep, this wheeler is Tim's father-in-law's, and I explained it in the beginning of this video. So, if you are just tuning in and you're curious, at the end of this video, just go back and check out the beginning of it. But it was leaking fuel. I think we got it fixed now. It took me a while though. Sum it up. Now, someone asked, have I ever had any paranormal experiences or any experience with crazy people? Yeah, I've had both. Paranormal stuff, luckily in this house, I've yet to have anything paranormal happen. Crazy people, however, that has happened here. This house I bought as a foreclosure, and you know how foreclosures go. There's always some rough characters. So when I first moved in, obviously people weren't banging on my door, but there was one particular instance that comes to my mind, and that was when we first moved in, there was a picket fence. And I don't know if I can show you guys, it might be too dark, but yeah, it's kind of too dark. There's a picket fence right there, okay? One of those 4-foot high ones, real wimpy looking, nice and gappy. Well, it went along there, and then I had a gate right back here with like a little dog clicker. And one day I'm in the garage, some dude rolls up and asks, hey, does so-and-so live here? And that was the previous owners. He looked like he was kind of strung on drugs. So I'm like, no, I'm sorry. They don't live here anymore. I bought the place. They're not here. I said, oh, well, do you mind if I just cut through to go to the front? And, oh, okay, that's weird, but fine. So he went through the fence, and I'm in the garage, so I'm watching this guy because I had the door unlocked. Sam was taking a nap, I think, inside on the couch. And the old school deck, the stairs went up on the front and down up on the back and down on the front. So you could get on it both ways. So I watched him, walked up, he went onto the deck, and then he stopped. And I'm like, oh man, that door's unlocked. If he goes in there, he's gonna get a whooping. And I stood there, looking, not in the place, but kind of just looking, like thinking. And then he walked down the front. And I was like, okay, no one's going through my yard anymore. And at the time, those people were drug selling idiots. And they would have people over all the time, and not just normal people, that crowd, big, tough guys who look like they shouldn't be out of jail or prison. Sounds bad, but it's true. And so, yeah, I put up that fence. And I think that's my fence. Well, actually, no, it's not my fence. That was their fence. But being that that landowner is a slumlord, and I had asked the tenants multiple times, like, hey, can I get his number so that I can call him to verify I can make this fence? I was also going to tell him about the garbage that was going on over there, and they knew it. They knew I would say something. So they said, no, we're not giving you his number. So I said, screw it. One day I started taking down the fence and putting up my new fence, because at this point it was my safety, and if they wanted to call the police or something stupid like that, oh my gosh, what perfect timing for me to say, yo, guess what's going on over here? So I got my fence put up, and now I got a 6-foot fence all the way around with access points, but they're locked up. So somebody would really have to want to like jump a fence to get into my backyard, which there's nothing back there. Everything is always locked up. If there is stuff back there, I got lots of padlocks, and I got chain, and I got like this type of stuff holding everything down. So I'd like to see somebody try. Some bugs getting in here, so I'm gonna close the door. What else we got? What's going on, Gail? William Jensen says, tough guys aren't all they are always meant to be. Well, yes, that is true, but what you do have to consider is these people they weren't working, they were just living off the system or getting their money, making their drugs, so they had nothing to lose. I have a lot to lose, right? They had nothing to lose. So for them to beat the heck out of me and probably go like back to jail, back to prison, it's a game they've played, and they're not afraid to play it, because I would probably be interrupting their business. But for me to like get beat up and be in the hospital, that's probably getting canned from work for not showing up and all this other stuff. So a 6-foot fence, what do they say? Fences make good neighbors. I think that's true. And it also works to my benefit as well, because there's a lot of nights where I'm in the garage and I'm making way too much noise. I think this is a benefit to living in the actual like inner city, is I can make all the noise I want so far. See you later, Neil. And I've yet to have a complaint from one of my neighbors as far as like police coming and knocking. I can make all the noise I want because they don't say nothing. And if the police did come, what are they gonna do? Bang on my garage door? They can't get into my fence unless they want to jump a 6-foot fence. So, yeah. William says, thanks for the shout out. I watch you and the other family's channels. Very good content. And you know what, William? I think I always see your comments on there, but we get a lot of comments, so it's hard to decipher or answer them all. And yeah, this is a Red Ryder BB gun that I want to throw out, but I can't because it's kind of really fun to plink around with. And you can do it anywhere. You can shoot that thing in the garage. Yeah, they might come flying back at you though. But I've set up shooting ranges in the garage before with BB guns. Works pretty good. Yeah. So I thought I would just do an update video, tell you guys what's going on and stuff like that without this thing dying. So I would like to invest in security cameras. I have some trail cameras that I set up, but security cameras are nice. I just I don't foresee us living at this house for more than another year or two. like I said, we bought it as a foreclosure. It has new flooring in it now, a new roof, a new fence. The yard's come a pretty far way, and I'm ready to make my money. So yeah, bought it as a foreclosure. I think right now we owe like 85 grand on this house, and as far as what it checks out with, they came out and checked out all the properties. I didn't let them inside because I don't want my property taxes to go up, but there is a house that sold that's just, if you go out the alleyway, it's across the road. And that was a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom with no garage and a smaller yard than this place. And it sold for 125? No, 129. And so this house has 4 bedrooms, 1 3/4 bath. I'd say it's a 2-bath. It's a stand-up shower downstairs. And the 2-stall garage, plus all the updates that have been done, and a little bit bigger yard. And online it says it should go for like 145. So if I can get 140 out of it, I'll profit my 55 grand minus fees. So, 40 grand or whatever it'll come to, and roll that into my next house or pay off some debts or something. I don't know what we'll do with it. I think we'd like to pay off Sam's student loan and then take the rest and put it towards other bills or to a new house. But yeah. What's up, Curtis? Sam's doing really, really well. She's at the point in her pregnancy where her hips hurt, her ankles are swelling. She can't bend over anymore. She has a hard time putting on her socks. And she's just overall over it. So I try my best to give her back rubs and to help her out. For a couple of weeks there, I noticed that the struggle was real. And I was trying to help her. And I was trying to say, hey, you shouldn't be lifting that heavy thing anymore. And she kept saying, I'm not broken, right? Tough, independent. I get it. But now she's letting me put on her socks. So a couple months or a couple weeks makes a big difference. Yeah. So that's where she's at. I'm super excited. That whole baby changing table cabinet thing, or changing table dresser being all banged up, if you guys watched that video, that was kind of a bummer, but they got the new one ordered on the way, and they don't want that old one. So I'm thinking of trying to sell that thing for like $100. I don't know, make some money out of it since it's banged up, but yeah. ALTR says, have you watched A Child Being Born? It's scary and wonderful. I bet it is. I haven't watched a baby being born, but I'm excited to see the process. So William says, you both are such troopers. It's a joint effort, and when she is the one carrying the baby. That is true. So I've been trying my hardest. It's crazy. I'm actually, in my mind, creating a video that I'll get. I want to do it right, though, of kind of like a, hey, guys, so if your lady's pregnant, this is a good idea on what you should expect, because there is so many things that you would not expect that now you do. Like, hey, you do the dishes. That's cool. Sam and I have it worked out. She always does laundry, unless it's like she needs something done during the night because, she needs it tomorrow. But she does the laundry, I do the dishes, typically. Well, when I do the dishes, we put Tupperware and pots and pans on the bottom of her cabinets. But now, like I said, she has a hard time putting on her socks. So bending over for her, see ya, Curtis, bending over for her is tough. So now I have to try to think ahead of what pots and pans she'll need and set them on the counter for her, right? So I want to do a video of all these different things, because when your lady gets pregnant, you might not realize, but it's like definitely a joint effort. you're not carrying this baby, but you are carrying more of a combined household duty, and it's stressful for both of you as far as we have to get the furniture, we have to make sure that the house is ready, we have to make sure that we're ready. We went and toured the hospital. That's kind of a joke though, but we went and toured the hospital, and you think about your vehicles. So luckily we've had a ton of support from our families as far as like they buy us all these wonderful things, which is fantastic because it is truly super expensive. And so we've had a lot of family support, but there's a lot of people out there that don't have that. And so I think it's important to maybe go through and be like, yo, like look at all these clothes we've had to buy. Like an outfit is $15 for, 3 onesies, maybe a cute like overcoat and like pants. That's a $15 thing. And she's going to need a lot of them, and there's a lot of different sizes that you're going to need. So like maybe shop at a thrift store, or what are some other things? Bottles, how you clean the bottles, all these different things. Like going through the process 6 months ago, I had no idea. Yeah, I knew babies are expensive. They need a lot of stuff. But knowing it and seeing Sam struggle throughout this ordeal with emotions and now at this point physical type things, it's really hard because I worry now constantly about how are your ankles doing, like that's another thing. A 2-pack of Dr. Scholl's socks, right, to help her with her ankle swelling is like $10. So all these things cost money. She has to completely redo her wardrobe for home and for work because now obviously her stomach sticks out, so you got to accommodate for that. And compression socks. Thanks, Mark. So I want to do a video on all these things. You have to buy baby hangers. You have to buy compression socks. Like, it's not going to be a boring video, but I do want to get it out there. Like, if you've never been a dad before or don't know what the heck's going on, let's say you're younger, let's say you're 19, you're having a kid. Hey, I want to be the best dad and the best person I can be to this lady. And, but I have no idea what's going on. Well, now I can say it because I'm fresh, I'm in it, and I want to say it like, start buying something every single paycheck. Buy the little kit of your bottles, one paycheck. Buy a rocking swing the next paycheck. Buy a pack and play the next paycheck. I mean, 9 months, you get paid 2 times a month. So you got 18 paychecks, maybe 19, maybe 20 if it's the 3 pay that happens once or twice a year. If you hit it right, you can get paid 20 times. But that's what I'm saying is 20 paychecks. Like, I know for us, it's been like it's been like a financial burden, right? All this money that you normally can spend on extra groceries or entertainment now is everything. All of your things are going to be for baby and for her, because yeah, there's like the U-shaped pillows. There's so many things, guys. So 20 paychecks, let's say you're skimming by and you only get $100 extra a paycheck, that's only $2,000. And when you start breaking it down to all the little things that you need, it's not very much. So luckily, financially, I feel like we do pretty good between the both of us. And family-wise, as far as our support system, everybody is really on board and good, right? This isn't like I'm a 16-year-old and this is a surprise. This is like, it's kind of expectable because we've gotten married and now, they knew like, oh, we're trying. and so now we're expecting. So it's like the process feels natural for us. Everybody's different, but the process feels very natural for us and for our family to support the natural process of it. They have no problems with it. So the biggest things right now are that stupid changing table dresser, which is really on my nerves. Not so much the dresser, but just the company we went through. They're a family-owned company, and it's a girl. For a fish fanatic, it's a little girl. But the company we went to, we thought was going to be good because they seem to be a little family-owned company about 45 minutes to an hour away from here. And it's just been an absolute nightmare because, they said it would take 2 weeks from when we ordered it, and that they would call us with the update, like, hey, it showed up. We're gonna set up a time with you. We'll call you though. So then after 3 weeks, instead of it was supposed to be at my house in 2 weeks or less. So at 3 weeks, I call and say, hey, we ordered this cabinet dresser thing, wondering where is it? Oh yeah, that came in last week. I seen it in the warehouse. I called on Sunday. She goes, I'll call you tomorrow. Just I have to make sure it's in there, and I'm not going to be going over there today, so I'll call you tomorrow, and I'll let you know, and we'll get a time set up to get it delivered. Because they're going to deliver it and put it together. Okay. Monday comes around, never called me. Call her back Tuesday. Oh, yeah, let's set up a time to get that delivered. All right. How about Friday at noon? Between noon and 1 o'clock. Yeah. Friday rolls around. It's 2 o'clock. I call her. Oh, yeah, well, we told your wife when we talked to her that it was going to be there between noon and 2. I was like, okay, like, she definitely talked to me. I wasn't going to call her out on that. Like, I don't care. The fact is, it's not here. And if it was till 2, it's 2 o'clock. So where the heck is this guy? Oh, well, I'll call him and see where he's at on his route. All right. He calls back my wife. And he says, yeah, right now I'm about an hour away. And so I'll be there. And this was obviously took time. So he's like, I'll be there around 4 o'clock. Now, dude is supposed to be here, they say by 2. And now he'll be here at 4. So he's still 2 hours late. I don't care if I got the time wrong. Dude is still 2 hours late. That pisses me off. Traffic, whatever, don't care. You're late. You set up a time, be there within that time, please. It's a professional aspect. And they've already been striking out on the whole conversation portion. So, okay. Then the dude shows up at 4, takes it out of the box. It's completely smashed up. Call the lady. Oh, yeah, I was so mad. I called her the next week. Oh, we were so mad when that happened. I sent him a nasty email. We're going to get you a new one. It won't cost you anything. And we're going to get it here fast. Okay. We'll call you with updates. Week goes by. Don't hear anything. So then we call. Now at this point, they know who we are. I mean, they can hear our voices. We're not upset with them, but they know who we are. And we're getting the vibe from them that they're actually annoyed by how much we're calling them. But we're only calling them because they said that they were going to call us, and they never do. So a week goes by, we call. Oh, yeah, we got one ordered. It's supposed to be here on Monday of next week. So now I had to wait the 4 weeks to get it the first time. And now this Monday is the 2 weeks to get it supposedly in because they express shipped it. So we're 6 weeks in, okay? And now at this point, we had to call them to make sure that it was coming because they said they were going to call us with updates because last we knew they sent an email. So we had to call them now again to verify that it did in fact, because we're to the point now where we don't have much time. This has already taken over a month. It can't take another month. So I'll call them tomorrow and make sure that it showed up and make sure I get a delivery time and go through this whole process again where the dude is going to be 2 hours late. That felt really good to vent, but We went with a little family-owned company. They are so nice on the phone. Like, the owner lady is so nice. But they just will not call you back and let you know when they say they will. And that's, yeah. I'm gonna call them out. So, this place here is in Little Falls, which is, like I said, 45 minutes to an hour from here. And they're called Babies on Broadway. And I was going to leave them an nasty review, but I'm kind of too nice. And at this point, I'm over it. And the review isn't necessarily that they are bad people, but it is that they don't really communicate very well with their customers. And the changing table dresser we bought is a $400 one. It's a little over $400 if I remember right. And if you guys have looked at changing tables that are dressers, it's really not that expensive. But for $400 for like the Ashley furniture chair that we got, that was also $400. That thing was there in 2 days. And they called me about it, and they sent me an email about it too. So I think that company has the ability to be awesome, but they just have really bad customer service. And the worst part about it is that you'd think the customer service would be better because they're family owned or like independently owned, but it's not. So if you guys live in the central Minnesota area and you're thinking, yo, I'm gonna go to Babies on Broadway, because I'll be 100% honest, there's not a lot of places around here that you can get like changing tables or big baby furniture stuff, cribs and stuff. You go to Walmart, they have like one. You go online, it's hard to find them. They have the resource, they have all of them. And that's what makes them nice, is because they know where to look. But I would not suggest ordering any furniture from them. Ask them what furniture they carry. They'll go like on the website and they'll look it up, and then go home and order it yourself, because yeah. So, my event is over. I would say I'm to the point now where if I call them on Monday and they're like, yeah, we won't have it for 2 weeks, I am going to get my money back. And I'm going to go on Amazon, and I'm going to have one in 3 days, and I'm going to put it together myself, and it's going to be perfect. Because we have time, but I'm not willing to wait any longer on this company. So, that's the frustrating part. Oh yeah, and when I talked to the lady the first time to set up the delivery, she said, oh, he only has one delivery that day, and he's going to be in Princeton, which is like a half hour from here. So the fact that somewhere in there they added another spot down in the cities and then had to come back up, that's what also got me, because that's what the noon was. It was going to be at noon because, he just had to be a half hour away, and then she's like, he'll be here. That was at 11:30, so she's like, oh, or 11. And she's like, oh, well, he'll get that one set up and come over, and it'll be perfect. It'll be right at noon. Well, not really. Anyways, that's enough of me venting. But, yeah, I really enjoyed, got all my keys here. I really enjoyed having a talk with you guys. And it's been nice. So, like I said, I want to do that video for any people that may be expecting kids or babies or whatever, because I think it's important. I wanted to do one a really long time ago when I first started my welding job, because when you go to school for welding and then get into industry, it's like a shock. So I want to do one for the baby though, because when you're in it, you remember all the little details and all the little stuff, and maybe walk through the baby room and just go like, these are all the things we have. So grab a list or check your list and see if you're matching up with ours, because this is stuff that we need. I'm going in to have a snack, but thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and I hope you have a good night. Bye.